mankind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Voice is clown.
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark. Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okie dokies. We're alive. What up,
Live.
YouTube? Welcome to Two Fat Guys Pull List. It's episode 62. Episode 62, 6-2. We're
said 62 last time.
No, I said 61 last time. I swear to God I did. It's 62, okay? And next week is going to be 63. So maybe I said that, and you're like, you said 62 last time.
Okay, buddy.
Whatever. Anyway, welcome to episode 62 of Two Fat Guys Pull List. And, we got a pretty fun one this week. I'd give it B. Solid.
B?
A solid one. Okay, B minus.
Ooh.
I give it a B minus.
I give it a B plus.
Okay, it was average. It was good. It was, if you're the smart kid in class, you're pissed, and if you're, the kid that continuously gets D's and F's, you're super stoked. And that
I see what it is. You're positioning yourself as the smart kid, and me as the dumb kid. Got it.
No, you're the smart kid. I'm definitely the dumb kid. Anyway, it's a fun week. Anyway, we got some business to take care of really quick. First and foremost, there is a storm in the DFW area that is approaching. So at any moment, our power could go out. So just be forewarned. If we freeze or if the stream abruptly ends live while you're watching it, that's because our power got knocked out because there's a pretty big storm coming in. So just to give you all a heads up, it will hit you first. So if you're dead, I'm going to my shelter. So because I live further south. Either way, just be prepared for that. Our power may go out. So be forewarned. Other piece of business. First, we're going to talk about our sponsorship with Collected Comics and BrainyComics.com. And that is, let me pull it up here on the screen, and then I will hit this. We have a new incentive with Brainy Comics. Ron has set up 2 different things that you can sign up when you buy comics on BrainyComics.com, which are called the Two Fat Guys Pull List Upgrade and the Two Fat Guys Pull List Premium. So what this is when you order comics on Brainy, like say you see some exclusives that you like, or you're getting your pool from Brainy Comics, whatever, anything you buy from Brainy Comics, you can buy this upgrade or premium upgrade. If you do the $10 upgrade, essentially what it is you get one random exclusive cover that Ron has in his shop. So for $10, you get a random exclusive. If you do the premium upgrade, you get 2 random exclusives in your list, or when you get your stuff that you bought, essentially. Pretty awesome deal. $10 you get 1, for $15 you get 2. Sounds like the premium's a little better. But if you get that extra 5 bones, that's probably a better deal.
Well, I think the cheapest his exclusives are usually 15 anyway, and they're usually more. So you're getting 2 for the price of 1 with the premium.
Yep. So that's a shout out to Ron at Collected Comics and Brainy Comics, our sponsor. So go over there, go to brainycomics.com, check out what Ron has to offer. He's got a lot of cool exclusives. He's got a lot of cover A's and cover B's, all kinds of cool stuff, collectibles, bunch of stuff. So if you're interested in that, go to brainycomics.com, check it out, and do the upgrade or do the premium upgrade if you want, and get an exclusive cover or 2. So that is that bit of business. And the second piece of business that we have is we have invested in some more giveaways for our subscriber incentives or sub milestones. That's what it is right there. I'm sorry, I couldn't get the word out. Anyway, we have we invested in some more giveaway milestone. So currently, I think we're at 523 subscribers, give or take. Sometimes that number fluctuates. So the next we're gonna do milestones at 650, 750, 850, 950, and then obviously 1,000. So at 650, we are giving away. Ron graciously gave us this. What's the furthest place from here? Issue number 1. This isn't even out yet, and it is signed, I believe, by the artist, but it might be the writer. I can't remember. But at 650, we'll be giving away this bad boy, signed by one of the creators of this comic. And you also get some cool incentive stickers in the back that come with it as well. So this is a pretty cool book. I've heard a lot of good things. I've heard a lot of good things from the previews of this book. So this is going to be a pretty hot book. So at 650 subscribers, we're giving away this bad boy. After that, at 750 subscribers, now we're getting into the slabs. At 750, we're giving away the CBCS graded 9.8 Green Lantern #1 with John Stewart on the cover. This is the cover B. Love this cover. I got this thing, relatively close to when it first came out. I think I got it from Andy over in Duncanville. So yeah, we're giving it away. It's been sitting on my shelf, and I'm like, someone deserves a nice Green Lantern 9.8 CBCS graded slab. So at 750 subscribers, we'll be giving away this bad boy. I gotta be delicate with everything because I don't want to smush anything. So I'm gonna put this over here for now. So I said 750. So at 850 subscribers. Now this one's pretty freaking. I mean, they're all cool, right? But this one is a CGC graded 9.4. Let me check it's Mike Dell'Otto, right? Is that how you say his name? Dell'Otto. Cover. It is a second print Silver Surfer Black #1, 9.4 with Null on the cover, and this is the first cameo appearance of Null in Silver Surfer Black. So pretty hot book there, 9.4. I kind of didn't want to give this one away, but hey, man, we're going to do it. So at 850 subscribers, giving away this bad boy. And then at 950 subscribers, we will be giving away this 9.8 CBCS graded Daredevil issue 25 second print, first appearance of Elektra as Daredevil, and her first cover appearance as Daredevil. So at 950 subscribers, we're giving away this. So those are the milestones, obviously, for those. And then, everybody knows what we're giving away at 1,000. It's no secret, right? We're giving away the CBC. No, let's go ahead. CBCS graded 9.8. Amazing Spider-Man #4, first appearance of Silk. At 1,000 subscribers, we're really trying hard, and I know we can do it, to try to hit this before the end of the year. I know it's a big ask, but we can do it. We can totally do it. So those are the giveaways, the reloaded incentive giveaways, or not incentive, milestone subscription giveaways. So when we hit those numbers, we will be giving those away. Also, Kwiku and Patty, we had an issue with your shipments. They got returned back to us. So this week we're going back to the postal service, or the postal office, and we are going to go in person and get this shit straightened out so you can get your slabs, because we want you to get what we got you, and we spent money on that, so we need to get it over there. So anyway, just to give you all the heads up. So let's go ahead and start the show. So as we always do, we kick the show off with our X books, and first up is Excalibur issue 24. Mm-hmm. I really liked this issue. I thought it was really... I felt like this is the most... I feel like this is the most Teeny Howard issue, if that makes sense. Like,
yep. Mm-hmm.
It really felt like her voice was extremely present in this book, and I didn't feel like she was confined, whether you hate it or not, by Hickman's events and or maybe even his X-Men series. I don't know. What do you think?
I really enjoyed it. I like that we had a combo of different things. So we have Rockins showing up. We've got Death and Bay having, parts to do with the story. I thought it was really funny when Betsy said something about Storm, and Death was like, oh yeah, She remembers me. Is that my name? I thought that was really funny.
What'd you say? What'd she say? What'd Boo say?
She remembers. Yeah. So that was really good. I also like the fact that this book feels like it has weight and consequences for the world at large. Yet it is a story that's probably not going to jump out of these pages, right? Like this little war that we're probably about to throw down with Arthur and Merlin. There's no reason for it to be jumping out of the pages of Excalibur, but it feels really important. So I like that we have a book that's not going to go into a tie-in or a big event that still feels like it has some nice consequence, while we've still got like Trial Magneto and Inferno going on.
You know, yeah, you're right. I think the book felt very independent of the rest of the X line, but then at the same time, it has weight in what's going on with this potential war in Outer World, and the mutants might be banished from Outer World. Like, depending on how this war goes, I don't think it'll happen. But I think that Excalibur, the team itself, and mutants themselves have an opportunity, I think, to continue to grab up more power in Outer World. And I hope that's what happens. And I think everything is kind of, I just said that it doesn't have any weight, or that Hickman's run or current Inferno run may not have any weight, but now I say this, it might. You know, depending on what happens in Inferno, that can obviously throw weight into what happens in Excalibur in Outer World as well. But yeah, no, I loved seeing Death. This is a version of vampires that I can dig, because they're not, I don't know, they just seem more
much more mythological and
diplomatic, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah. It's not just blood.
Well, the blood, the bloodlust is not the most important thing, right? It's about the Empire. It's about their reign. And what I loved about them is they kind of went into their history, right? And they talked about how, like, I can't remember what spurred it on, but they said something like, we may be immortal, but where we come from isn't. So they basically say, like, they came to Outer World because where they're originally from, it went away. They outlasted their home world, which was pretty cool. I thought that was neat. But yeah, it was a really good issue, a lot of good action. I felt like Teeny's voice was very prominent in it, and it just got me more psyched for Excalibur, and I'm going to be really, really upset if this is one of the books that get axed in the new year.
It's probably, I think every book is getting not
Either
necessarily
shuffled.
completely axed, but like canceled and restarted. So like it might even be Teeny Howard and Marcus Toe doing the book again, but I think it'll still get shuttered and relaunched. That being said, I highly doubt it's with the same creative team, but we're seeing it's not going to be that way with Marauders.
Right, yeah.
I will say that I say this every time, I think probably the past 4 issues of this book, but Marcus Toe is doing like a freaking fantastic job on the art on this book. For me, so what really set it aside for me was I went back and read some random Claremont era X-Men issue for something that Comic Book Herald said. I can't even remember what it is now, but it was a issue that prominently featured Betsy before she had her Quanon change. So this, like the purple-haired Betsy, and I realized, of all the versions of Betsy I've seen, which are probably only 4 different ones, this is my Betsy. Like, this is what I think of when I think of Betsy Braddock. It's Marcus Toe's version. And for him to be able to do that in 24 issues, I think that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. No, I think she's a strong character. And again, that's I go back to, like, like you're saying, like it seems like most of the X line is going to get reshuffled and or canceled. And that's going to be really depressing, because I think I hold a little bit of a grudge, and I don't know against who. Maybe it's I'm not gonna say who, but I remember when I initially was taking on the X line, it was suggested to me to not pick up Excalibur. It's like, you don't need to pick up Excalibur; it's not important. Holy fuck! Like, it's been very important. Right. Yeah, I mean, it was completely important for Ten of Swords, and I feel like we're gaining more traction. So I hope it sticks around. But issue 24 was fantastic. I thought, the plot lines driven by, the basically Outer World getting ready to reject mutants, or what's it called, Witchblood or Witchbreed, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then you have Cetronine, who I can't tell if we can trust yet, or if we can ever trust her. You know, she's in the middle of this trial for these, you know, Rogue, Gambit, and Jubilee Captain Britons, these variants that shouldn't exist. You know, they're on trial, and in the middle of the trial, Merlin shows up, and Arthur shows up, and they start this massive war, right? So this is where this, you know, it does feel like we went 0 to 60. You know, like suddenly we have this plot line, but I'm not bothered by it. Like this is the progression I've been looking for since Ten of Swords, and I'm really digging it. So we'll, you know, hopefully it doesn't conclude quickly. Hopefully we kind of push forward, and it makes it through 2022 into the beginning of 2022. Only solicitations will tell for January. But overall, this was my second favorite mutant book of the week, and we had 3. Let's talk about one that was good, but we saw it coming, and it feels extremely rushed. And that is Hellions, issue number 16. The band is breaking up because this book ends at issue 18. And you know, this was one of our top X books since it debuted, and I don't know, man. Like, I'm sad to see it go. We're seeing plot lines being solved, and we're seeing other ones being sewed into existence, which are coming in other books that we're hypothesizing on. Yeah, and essentially, you know, the band is breaking up. You know, what's his name? What's Summers' brother's name? Cyclops' brother's name? Havoc? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Havoc has been granted, or we put this in quotation marks, granted Madeline Pryor's resurrection. So she apparently is coming back, and we do see that in the Hellions. I think it's the last issue. Yeah. She's on the cover. Mm-hmm. So what's that about? Quinnan, you know, we do get a little bit of a timeline verge here where, you know, in Inferno #1, Quinnan had accepted the role as captain. And then in this one, it is referenced that she accepted the role, and she's kind of like, maybe I don't want to do it. So there's a little bit of intrigue there. I think she will be a captain. I think it's a done deal. You know, Wild Child has become, you know, feral again, if you will. He lost his outer world buff. Buff. That's gone. We get a little bit of emotion for, I cannot remember this dude's name, the guy that can overpower people, or he can
Empath?
Yeah, empath. We get we see that he's actually, huh?
Go ahead. I don't know if that's right. But.
Okay. Well, the dude in the pink suit, basically, he is granted like clemency from Emma Frost, and we see that he's actually kind of depressed that he's always alone. So we see that. You know, I don't really care for that character, so great, sure. And then we get Nanny officially abandoning
Orphan
Maker. Yeah, she is done. So, you know, I think we're mending plot lines. We're just pushing through, and it does feel pretty forced. I think the fact that this book is ending, you know, I would assume it's because we're taking probably 2 or 3 characters and moving them into their own books or into other existing Marvel X-Men books, and that's why this issue is ending, or why Hellions is ending. I don't think we're going to get a reboot of Hellions in January 22. I think this book is done.
I think they're trying to tighten up the X-line.
Yeah,
sure.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does. This has been one of the stronger books, but I think Quannan's going to Marauders. Seems to be the fix there. And, I mean, besides Havoc, the rest of these characters are pretty C or D list. I don't think too many people will miss them. I will miss them as a group, for sure. Yeah, this book felt like issues 15, 16, and 17 were all just one story. And they were just like, just cut it at 21 pages, and then just go, and then just call the next one the next. You know, like, it very much started like in medias res, and then very much ended. And you're like, wait, that's the end of this issue? That was nothing.
Yeah.
So
no, yeah, it definitely ended too quickly. So I'm disappointed, because this is one of my favorite books. Let me get to comments really quick. Quickie says, "Hey y'all, thanks for powering through the postage problems. It's no big deal. Gotta say, this week was really impressive in regards to all the X-books. Seemed like plot threads are coming around in every title. Yeah, I think that's the Inferno effect. I think, like Nate said, I think Marvel is getting ready to tighten up the X line. I think we'll probably have 4.
Yeah, at least. We should have more, but yeah, at least 4.
I think we'll have 4, and then we'll have little minis, pop-ups. The Sabretooth, the Legionnaires, you know what I mean? I think there's just going to be... And you know what? To be honest, I'm not really upset with that, because I've actually, I've said in previous videos, I really dig the little, 5 to 6 minis. I kind of like that better, because it's just, it's cohesive, it stays true to itself, and, maybe it branches out and, drops a branch of timeline here or storyline here, but you have to follow it, which I think is more of an incentive to read than going, hey, I have all 7 X book lines right now and I'm reading them all. And then you feel like we are now, which is like, man, I could have probably just read Hickman's X line and been good. So, but yeah, no, I think you're right, Quiku. This week was really solid. Stephanie, you say Excalibur has been in my top 3 books since Dawn of X. I also hope it doesn't go away. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And Mike, what's up? What are you doing? How you doing? All right, so that's Hellions. Brief on that. Let's get to the best book, I believe, that was our X books, and that was New Mutants, issue 22. If I had a Marvel pick of the week, this would be it. This would be my Marvel pick of the week. Push the button. Okay, so this is going to be it. All right, so this is Nate's.
That's Nate's pick of the week.
So I'm pushing this over the edge and saying it's my pick of the week because I think of my other 2 books I like, it has the best cover.
Oh, okay. So the cover did it.
I thought the interior art was amazing in all 3 books. I thought the story was really good. But of the 3 books that I wanted to pick as pick of the week, this had the best cover, Martin Simmons, so that's why.
Man, I can't fault you for that, dude. I really can't.
Yeah, I had so much fun with this issue. So, I don't think I mentioned this to you, but Rod, I don't know if it's Rod Reese or Rod Rice.
I've heard Rod Rice, but I've also heard Rod Reese.
The artist of this book put on Twitter this week, on Wednesday when this book came out, he just a really short tweet and was like, guys, I am having the time of my life with this book. And it just got flooded by a ton of people, fans and comic creators alike, saying we can absolutely tell, you're doing fantastic. And it was really cool to see a creator that's not Donny Cates or Hickman, getting some credit from some really big names and just a lot of people, coming together to say, hey, yeah, man, you're kicking ass. And I think this issue shows you how, not only how much he's paying attention and how much he knows New Mutants history, but he really flexes his artistic skills in this issue too.
I'm gonna go ahead and show top cam here really quick. And we'll get into what's going on here. I mean, shit, look, even that right here with Farouk's face, or the Shadow King. That is, I almost posted that on Instagram. I was like, that is amazing. But we've got essentially what Shadow King does in this issue is he shows the older New Mutants, not necessarily alternate realities. He's really showing what's to come if they don't stiffen up, if mutants don't just start getting rough and tough. Because what he basically says is that the mutant nation, mutants in whole as a species, have become soft. They basically have let Krakoa as a nation soften them and hey, it doesn't matter. We may, we can die and we can be resurrected. And Farouk's kind of don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Resurrection may not exist for much longer, aka Inferno. And so he shows them not different outcomes, just what's to come to Krakoa, and that this legion of enemies of mutants are about to all descend onto the island very soon. And you've got Orcus, you have the Brood, you have just everything. It's no one's safe. And like you said, Reese's artwork is just out of this world in this issue. It's so good.
Yep. And I also think that some of my favorite deep philosophically challenging questions about Krakoa have come from New Mutants once Vita Ayala took over. They're just like throwing in constant, like, hey, like, are we thinking of this? You know, I think unfortunately it was sort of missed in the Children of the Atom book, but still, like, you know where they're going, and like Vita's constantly challenging us to think. So like literally in throughout this entire book, I found myself fighting between who I agreed with more. Like, I was like, do I agree with the New Mutants or do I agree with Farouk? And like at the end, I think, and you know, we're not insanely well versed on Farouk in his past history, but like I know enough to know that the dude's fucked. Like, he has done some seriously bad stuff. Right. You know, and Comic Book Herald has also emphasized like how horrible, you know, Farouk has been in the past. Yeah. And so the fact that anybody can just go, I don't know, man, the guy's got some good points. Like, it just shows you how well that Vita has written his thoughts. It's actually on the opposite page of the one that you showed, that you showed, like his big head and stuff. But that page in particular, you know, I can't read it all because it's very exposition heavy. But if you do have this issue and maybe you missed it, look at that page, because it's got a lot of really good arguments for both sides. And I read that page. I literally just read it now when you were talking. It was just like, I still don't know which one I agree with.
Well, we say it all the time. I think it's definitely worth everybody's time to go to Comic Book Herald's YouTube page, and he does a great breakdown of all of the X books this week, but most particularly New Mutants. He does a really good job of it. He said it's the best. I think you said this too. This felt like the most Hickman-centric issue to date. And then the other thing I would like to say is, I kind of feel like Vita Ayala is the unsaid protege of Hickman, right? Like, this book felt like Hickman. And, you know, I know Tini Howard is kind of more focused, or is kind of in public. It's more like Tini Howard is second in command a little bit, because she was so involved with Ten of Swords, with the inception of House and Powers. But I feel like Vita Ayala just was a step just right next to Hickman with this book and this series. I think once New Mutants started kind of shedding the plot lines and kind of started focusing on the Shadow King and what the fuck he was doing, and Gabby and all that jazz, I thought that was really good. And, you know, obviously in Hellions there was a connectivity to Inferno, but this is the only issue that I have seen, and Harold says this as well, this is the only issue that's currently running that makes any mention about the trial of Magneto. Yeah. We don't get any mention in Inferno, even though it's basically after the trial. So we kind of know what the trial's outcome is going to be. Wink, wink. But this book actually like makes mention to it, because they ask about Wolverine, and Gabby's like, they're off, you know, dealing with that shit. Right. So again, there's some interconnectivity that Ayala put in there, and we don't know if it was, you know, maybe it wasn't her, maybe it was the editor, but I feel like it was her. Like, they made an effort to make there some connectivity to Trials, which we haven't gotten at all. And I will have something else to say about Trials later on in the show, closer to honorable mentions, but we'll get there. Anyway, New Mutants 22, fantastic artwork. This is Nate's Pick of the Week.
That's Nate's Pick of the Week.
I feel much better about it after talking about it.
All right, we'll see what happens when we get to the other two. Uh-oh. Your camera's all blue.
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. There he is.
Also,
weird,
what's up,
dude.
Brandon? Thanks for
Y'all,
coming.
you went into you were in Tron, dude. You were in the code. You've never seen Tron, have you?
Seen Tron.
Okay, well, you gave me you made that face like you weren't in the grid, or you didn't know what the grid, whatever the grid was. Next is from Tom Taylor. We've got Dark Ages issue 2. This was a solid, I'd say this is a solid A-. It wasn't as good as the first issue, but I did like it. I really liked it. because again, we're still establishing. I like that we're not just jumping right into the post-apocalyptic Dark Ages, and hey, kind of figured this out. We're still building the world that is Dark Ages, and that's what I really liked about this issue. And then I obviously loved the betrayal. The betrayal in this book, I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't. And then when I saw it, I was like, damn it, I knew that should have been that. Obviously, it's that person.
Yeah.
But essentially what we get in this issue is we get the network that's set up around the world via mutants. Mutants are a crucial component to everyone existing in this dark age that Taylor has produced.
Right.
Which I think is really cool. So, but we're completely void of Krakoa in this timeline. Krakoa does not exist. They did Magneto dirty. We'll get there. We'll get there. What up, Mark?
Right. Hi.
So, essentially, we've got networks of people living on each continent who are, living, and we find out that as it should be, I would assume, the main baddie is creatures of the night, vampires, werewolves, ghosts, yada, yada, yada. Great. I'm not upset about that. It didn't bother me when that was revealed. I thought, okay, that's cool, yeah. And, so what? Yeah. And, I like that Gabby gets some justice in this book. She's basically a vampire slayer. She's got her one adamantium claw, but then she has her new suit that's got stakes in it when she wants to fight vampires. Fucking cool. Yeah, and so basically what we have is a betrayal happens in this book where Iron Man gets coaxed out of his cave, his scientific cave, by what we would think was Captain America. But it ends up being a plot to kidnap Iron Man because, Apocalypse wants his brain. He wants his smarts. And so he has Mystique, shapeshift into Captain America, who is now a vampire hunter who looks totally badass. Mm-hmm. And they transport to Europe. And what we find out is Magneto is working on generating electricity again. But he's doing it in a very foul way. And Stefan, we'll get to what you basically said is we are using Magneto as a power source to generate electricity using magnetism. And he don't look good. He's in this sphere, and it's fucking, they did him dirty. They really did do him dirty.
They really did.
Yeah. I think this event is really fun. I really like this Elseworld vision. And what I really like about it is being able to see where every one of our characters that we like, where they're at, what side are they on. So Apocalypse, he's got Fantastic, he's got Mystique, he has a couple other heroes in his back pocket. And so, we've got our first legit consequence that's not of the circumstance in this book by the end of it. And I think that's really cool. I think it's a solid book. I'm enjoying it. I'll tell you this. I am enjoying Dark Ages a hell of a lot more than I thought I was going to enjoy Darkhold, and we'll get that in honorable mentions. This book is fun. Darkhold is poo-poo. But I have my theories, though.
Yeah. Well. Did you also notice that they left in that little, I don't know what you want to call it, Easter egg, or just a little fun detail? Tony doesn't have his leg. Did you see that part of his?
No, I did not notice that. Oh my god!
One of his legs is his suit leg. It's not.
I didn't even. Oh my god!
So the only time that we get any hint of this was from the preview from a year and a half ago, where it shows him flying in the air. Then all of a sudden he gets hit by something, and the bottom half of his leg gets blown off. And we were like, "Oh shit! What is this?" And then that was height of the pandemic, and it got delayed and all that stuff. But that's still
I love it. I didn't even notice that. That is so awesome.
As soon as I saw Tony, I was like, "Oh, his leg."
I completely spaced on that. That's fucking cool. I love that. I will recommend. I will put my reputation on the line. I think this is a fun series. If you haven't started it, I think it's just a fun, silly goose time. I think it's an Elseworld kind of.
This is very much a similar vein of what Tom Taylor did with DC. Deceased, yeah.
Deceased, yeah. Never read it, but
I haven't either. But that's what people are saying. So.
I did watch a TikTok where a guy did they broke down the first half of Deceased. It does sound pretty wicked. Let's see. Liking Dark Age a lot. Great world building. Magneto can be used being taken down a peg or two. I do agree with that, but it's still dirty. Captain America's zombie shield beheading. Yes, that was cool too. I agree. But yeah, that's Dark Ages. I definitely recommend picking it up. It's just fun, and it feels like obviously there's no consequence, but at the same time it has plenty of oh shit moments. Like issue 1 was filled with oh shit moments, and that's why it was my pick of the week. Unfortunately, issue 2 wasn't, but it still was a really good issue. So, all right. After that, we have Captain Marvel issue 33, Last of the Marvels Part 2. I know you read this. I think we had talked about it the other day at work, and you enjoy it.
I am enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am enjoying this because, but I can understand how people aren't enjoying it. Now you have your own reasons. I can understand how some people aren't liking this because it feels very much like fan service. I happen to love fan service whenever it's things that I feel are underappreciated, like the other Captain Marvels, like Monica Rambeau and Genesis Vell and Phyla Vell and even Miss Marvel. So I'm totally super stoked about them getting highlighted.
Right.
But I will say that the story has been a little lackluster, not super in depth, but it is stuffed with action. Tons of action. Yeah. I love that Kelly Thompson has consistently used L'Oreal as well in her run since she introduced her in the Empire tie-ins a year and a half ago.
I agree.
She didn't just let her fall by the wayside. She's consistently been around. She even used her in I think she was the one that wrote that one shot, Last Annihilation one shot, Hulkling and Wiccan. Remember, they're supposed to be on their honeymoon. And
right.
L'Oreal,
yeah. And she's and she got to be in vacation mode for a second.
Yeah. Anyway, so I personally am really enjoying it. I can realize though that it's maybe.
Well, let me clarify something. It's not that I don't like it. I just feel outside of the use of all the Marvels, right? All of them. Outside of that, it does feel like I don't know. It just feels a bit stagnant because we've already really dealt with Vox Supreme starting in issue 16, which is where I jumped on, and it was absolutely fantastic. And now, obviously, Vox is doing something different, which is fine. And I think we're obviously building to that. I have my theories, you have yours. But just the interim right now, I feel like it's kind of, everybody really liked this, symbiote-esque suit that controls Captain Marvel. Now we're going to put it on all the other Marvels. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It just, to me, it's a little flat. Just a hint of flat. That's my only criticism. I'm not saying this book is shit. It's great. It's amazing. But it just feels a little flat. My theory, and I said this to you, and you're like, no way, never, it's not going to happen. Fucking, I'll pee on your grave. It's not going to happen. And my theory is Vox is resurrecting Marvel. Now,
that's not happening.
I don't think he's resurrecting the Marvel. I think he's doing what he's been doing with everything else, and he's taking a little bit of DNA, and he's going to create a villainous Marvel who will be in one of these suits. And I don't think he's going to be a pushover. I don't think it's going to be something that's just going to, you know what I mean? It's not going to be over in an arc. I think this is going to be something that the entire Marvel universe is going to have to deal with at some point. I think Vox is going to overplay his hand to the point where shit gets out of hand, right? Because where he is he's on the planet where Marvel died. And so, some DNA.
See, that's another thing that I didn't understand, because that, unless something has happened that I didn't understand, that's not how Marvel does. That's not what happens.
I don't either. I'm just making the assumption based off of what they showed in this issue, which was his body was infused and absorbed by the planet, right? So, or maybe this is how we get another ego. I don't know. But
just kill ego.
Exactly. So that is intriguing. But as for the suit part, I feel like it is, and this is the part of the fan service I don't think you're the fan service of like incorporating all these Marvels. For me, the fan service for people that have read since 16 is you're bringing back this awesome suit that was really fucking cool. But Vox was, I don't know. He just seems cookie cutter in this current arc as of right now. Issue 34 could blow us out of the water. Yep. But in 16, when it was established with him, dude was a badass because, Vox comes from Donny Cates' Death of Inhumans. Then you have the Intelligence Supreme. They come together. Holy shit, right? And now he feels more of like a, ha ha ha, I'm in my secret lair, see? Like, that's how it feels. Whereas in issue 16 and through that arc, it was, I don't know if Captain Marvel's going to make it out of this. Like, she might actually kill all the Avengers. It was cool. It was a good issue. It just wasn't, it didn't tickle my fancy as much as I wanted it to. There you go. All right. Patty, what's up, Patty? I made it. How's everyone? Still cleaning up after taking down a wall. Talked to Sunday work. Okay. Ooh, that's some construction work there. All right. Next up, we've got Eternals Celestia, issue 1. We will get through this one very quickly. This was a beating to read.
I agree 100%.
That
it was not a beating to look at.
No. That being said, I think we have some foundational changes happening within this book, and I think you said it perfectly the other day. Did anyone tell Jason Aaron?
Yeah. Did anyone tell Jason Aaron that that the Avengers are now public enemy number 1 for a few Eternals, and that they're coming to fuck up Avengers Mountain?
Yep. Which is a Celestial or Internal? No, a Celestial. Yeah.
Celestial, yeah.
Basically, what we get is a history lesson with this one Eternal who is the High Priestess of the Eternals when they had a religion, when they were actually worshiping the Celestials. Man, there's a lot of Eternal, Celestial, Celestial, Eternal. And so when they left, most Eternals have realized that the Celestials really were just using them as science projects and nothing more. There is no deeper meaning. But this priestess, she is still of the mindset that the Celestials will come back and they will praise her for her faith. And so we get a history lesson about her, not taking on, but trying to communicate to the Avengers, the million BC Avengers, and them basically wiping the floor with her because they didn't know who she was. And she kind of took the, non-violent approach. And so they go on a journey. These two Eternals go on a journey to meet up with the new Avengers and realize that they have used the Prime Celestial as their home base and, using its body. And she finds it blasphemy and all this shit. And she ends up tapping into their mind and realizing that the the Celestials actually let it happen, because they felt like they had put a sin upon the world. And so they were kind of making up for it. And she's pissed that the Celestials showed mercy to the humans, but not the Eternals, that they have abandoned the Eternals. So she's pissed. And she basically leaves and declares war on the Earth and mainly the Avengers. So we're potentially getting an Eternals versus Avengers event. And I don't know if it's going to be a mini or if it's going to be a massive MCU event. I feel like that's pretty big. But I don't think all the Eternals are going to be on board either. So we're going to have some rogue Eternals. We're going to actually have some villainous Eternals that are going to interfere in ways that we've never really seen before. I could be wrong. I don't have mass extent of Eternals history under my belt, so I don't know if that's actually happened before or not.
Wiku just said,
okay,
this one-shot works much better if you have read the Neil Gaiman and Knopf runs, since it's picking up plot points from those runs.
Interesting. So we are
Now we gotta go do some other Eternals reading.
Other reading. Artwork on point. Deposition a little too thick, and I don't
look at this. Like, I can't remember this artist's name, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on my phone.
Here, I'll do it on mine. I know it. I know what picture.
My God, like that. That is the most Kirby-esque panel I have seen in a comic since it was a Kirby book I was looking at.
Yeah,
it's really awesome.
Let me get to it.
Plus, Assad Ribic cover. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, you can't go wrong with Assad Ribic. I know that's you get a boner every time he does But yes, the use of colors, the cosmic, just very abstract costumes, all good. There's another panel that's really good too. Let's see. Oh yeah, when she's fighting the BC Avengers and she gets incinerated into like a skeleton. Fuck.
It's great.
Anyway, good shit. Again, it just felt a little too thick. And I don't normally say that. I'm usually a big fan of deposition, but this one was like, I was trudging along trying to get it read, and I feel bad. I don't normally like to say that, but it didn't. I feel like we could have said less, and just let the artwork. You know what I mean? Like let flow what we were trying to get, because by the end of it was like, oh, that's what we're doing. Whereas halfway through it, I was like, what? Where are we going? Why should I care about these two people? Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, that's Eternals. I think the Thanos one was better.
Yep.
But there's potential big consequence coming. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in Timeless and see if we get any clarification of that.
I think we get one more one-shot, too.
I think that's this week, but it's not by Karen Gillan.
Right.
It's by somebody else.
By Ralph Macchio. Not
the
Karate Kid.
Ralph Macchio. Nice. All right, I think that does it for our Marvel books. And now we jump into our DC with Batman 114 Fear State.
Loved it.
Peace.
Loved it.
Yes.
Loved it.
Yes.
It was so close to being my pick of the week.
This was your DC pick of the week, right?
It's my DC pick of the week, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now that you're wrong.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, you only have one thing to complain about this book, and you're wrong.
I'm wrong
the
about
pacing,
the pacing?
Pacing is perfect. The pacing is so good. It is
disagree?
on point. It is. He is flowing so beautifully between so many different plot points that he's going on. They're wrapping up beautifully.
You're wrong.
I love it.
Wrong. The reason why you're wrong is because I don't want it to end.
Well, okay. Yeah, but it's going to end.
No, and it's not bad. Like I'm not saying. I know we just started this conversation in the middle, and you have no fucking clue what we're talking about.
Yeah, sorry.
Basically, what I said at work is that I feel like Tynion is just trying to get through it as fast as it can, so he doesn't have to write this anymore. And I don't like that. Because I feel like we built up to this fear state, and it was like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And before fear state even starts, we announced that Tynion is done with Batman. It's over. I'm never going to write another, never, and so maybe it's, you're probably right. It's my internal made up bias that makes me feel upset that it's ending. But this book, yeah, you're right. This book was fantastic. It really is Peacekeeper X versus Peacekeeper 1. And Batman's really just a side character. He's watching it play out because that's all he can do. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's the whole point. I think it's like, we want to be given this sense of utter chaos that like even Batman's just standing there just going, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
What do I do?
This is the most 0 to 60 issue. Much shit happens in here. And I guess what I'm, the one positive, not the one positive, there's a shit ton of positives in this book. Let's just get it out of the way now. Jorge Jimenez, bro, they ain't paying you enough. I'm just telling you now.
There's no way they're not. Yeah, there's no way.
They need to give you more money, dude. This shit is insane.
I'm going to go ahead and say that he's about 3 issues away from overtaking Assad Ribic as my favorite artist.
Whoa!
Like this book, just like looking, I literally read the book, and the second I was done, I just went through and looked at it. Like I didn't read any words. I just looked through. Like not only is the art really good, and the shadowing is amazing, the coloring, I can't remember who colors for them, but it's like the coloring is on point. The action, like whoever's doing the extra touches, I don't know if it's Jimenez or if it's the colorist that's doing the fading and the like blurring and stuff. Like it works so well, but like he also knows how to draw like horribly hideous faces. Like,
yeah,
this panel is probably one of my favorite little panels because it just shows you how fucking insane and ridiculous this character is.
Right. Yeah. No. It's out of this world. It really is. And to Tynion's credit, it doesn't feel like you're reading a comic. And I'm not saying that's a bad. I'm not saying when you read comics, yeah, that's. Don't even get me started. I'm not saying that that comics shouldn't feel like you're reading comics. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm saying is Tynion is so masterful that you just get absorbed into the narrative, into the action, everything, so that by the time it ends, you're like, now I gotta wait well, we don't have to wait a month, obviously. We have to wait like 2 weeks and we're gonna get another issue. But he just does such a good job. Let me check my phone here, sorry. Morning, okay. I don't know, he just does a great job, and you're so immersed in it that when the issue ends, you're like, fuck, I want more. And that's always been a comment that we've made for Tynion's books. You know what I mean? And he's I don't know, he's just not, he's firing in all cylinders, and it's a goddamn shame he's going away. And yeah, and obviously you can go to his Substack, and if that's what you want to do, great. I really hope
Won't be Batman.
It won't be Batman, and I hope he does more independent stuff outside of Substack as well, with Boom and Image and hopefully Vault. And, I'm going to put it out there right now. I'm never going to say never. I bet he comes someday. I bet someday he'll come back because the money will be too damn good. Marvel will be like, hey, you want to write something for us? Be like, oh, shit. And when that day comes, it'll be our best video ever. It'll be like, Tynion to Marvel, But yeah, this was great. And Peacekeeper X, dude, he got played dirty too. They both did.
He got fucking destroyed. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like I was surprised they let him go as far as they did with it. Not that it's like exuberantly violent. I just was like, oh.
Yeah, we're burning it down.
Okay.
Yeah. And what we find out is, and it's not really a surprise, is that most or all Peacekeepers have like built-in detonators that just. No one's gonna find out anything about these guys. So
people and the robots.
Yep. So at the end of this issue, basically Gotham loses an entire city block.
Also, the backup story.
Oh yeah, the Clown Hunter.
The Clown Hunter backup story that's drawn by Jason Howard.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic, and that story is actually going to be continued throughout the next couple of issues. So basically, Clown Hunter gets saved by.
Is it Damien? Not Damien.
No. Red Robin. I can't remember his name. Shit.
Red Hood?
No. After Jason Todd, before Damien.
Drake.
Yes. Whatever his other name is.
I don't know.
I can't remember either, but he's the one that saves Clown Hunter, and he was like, hey, you got hit with some crazy experimental toxin. I don't know how you made it, but you did. Like, I'm proud of you. Like, good job. Mm-hmm. And Clown Hunter's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Thanks for the save. And then he stops. He's like, you need some help? And Robin's like, fuck yeah, I do. And so I think this issue of Batman Urban Legends, issue 8 that comes out this week, Tim Drake. Thank you, Calvin.
Tim Drake.
I think that their story of them working together is going to continue in Urban Legends number 8, and then as a backup, and then in Batman 115 as a backup.
Solicitations for both DC and Marvel are about to get really spicy. That's all I got to say. Is like I'm looking forward to, but also don't want to be disappointed. So here we go. Anyway, that is Batman 114. We'll see you in about a week. All right, Arkham City, The Order of the World, issue 1 of 6. This was a quick add-on And I thought it was fantastic, and I see why it was Rockin' Robbie's pick of the week. I definitely see why it was. This read like a movie. It took me a little bit to get into it, but the minute Ten-Eyed Finger Man was introduced, I was like, oh,
yeah,
this way where we going. This is where we're going.
It's creepy.
Creepy as fuck. And, you know, I don't want to give away a lot of it. I just think this is definitely worth the read. And as a novice DC reader, that's huge. That's massive.
Yep.
And I think that's, you know, bravo to this creative team. It was really fun. The hook at the end, I was like, oh shit. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting it. And usually we try to heed our elders. And so when Robbie is out here saying this is the pick of the week, we don't take that lightly. And we usually end up picking up whatever he said, unless it's just something that's so abstract and we're like, we'll skip that day. I'm glad I picked it up. You know, Ron even saw us picking it up and he was like, yeah, you're going to like that.
You need to do that.
So I dug it.
See, and Brandon said, I love the retro art in this so much. I have a really hard time with Danny's artwork. This, and I know what Brandon means, and I also have a problem with Sale's artwork too, because this is like Last Halloween, which is one of the most famous Batman stories of all time. But I look at that artwork and I'm just like,
right.
I don't feel like you tried very hard. Now, that's not what I'm saying about Danny's artwork. I think that this is a little bit more put together than that. Mm-hmm. But it's still, for me, is like it's too abstract that I feel like I'm working too hard to see things that aren't that obscure.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
No, but I see that.
I realize that I'm probably not in the majority on this, so I'll just say I still enjoyed the issue, and I will be picking up number 2.
I felt like there was enough foundation in the artwork in this book that it didn't bother me. I was like, I can dig this. I mean, towards the beginning, I was like, I don't know. But then it really, again, when the finger eye guy showed up, I was like, okay, you have my attention. Like, that was insane.
Yes, and for what it's worth, I imagine that it's going to be very tangential, but the first 2 or 3 issues of this are considered tie-ins for Fear State.
Really? Oh yeah, because of A-Day and all that jazz?
Because of A-Day and all that. Now, I don't, with this first issue, I don't see anything. You could not be reading Batman at all and still have everything you need to know in this issue.
Okay.
But it is in the Fear State checklist. I just pulled it up.
Interesting. Well, it was good enough that I ordered issue 2 in Comic Cub, so I will be reading the next issue. So it will be as we go, and if it continues to intrigue, I will continue to pick up. Next up, we have our last DC book from Tynion, that is Nice House on the Lake, issue number 5, or book 5. This also, if I had a DC book of the week, would have been my pick of the week for DC. I thought it was great. I feel like we're starting to come around. I feel like we're finally starting to get an idea of where we're headed. I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure by, book 7. Nah, just kidding. We're not going in that direction. But I really dug it. I don't know. I didn't ask you about this book because I know you read this one late, and I'm just kind of curious. Like, did you not enjoy it? Did you like it, or did you feel like it was cheesy?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was probably one of the weaker of the 5 issues, but okay. I still thought it was good. I felt like this issue was probably the least focused on a single person.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of the other issues felt like we were seeing the world through the eyes of those 10, 12. Okay. And this one, I didn't feel that way nearly as much. I don't feel her identity in this book much.
So let me ask you something. So she was inadvertently physically maneuvered by Walter, right? Like was she the character that basically got like told to forget and actually saw Walter's true form, but she doesn't remember? Was that her? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first instance that we've seen in the past where Walter has interfered. Showed himself in this book, and we just see, what I liked about this book is we're getting a little bit better of a picture of Walter. At the same time, we're not. We still don't know what he is. We don't know if there's a higher power controlling him, and we don't know if he's got this group's best interest in hand or not. Sometimes it feels like he does, and sometimes it feels like he doesn't. And in this issue, it really feels like he kind of does. Like there's certain things that Walter can't tell them, but it's like he told them, like he write every second letter of what I say into a note, and it'll tell you exactly what I'm trying to tell you, kind of thing. And so, we hadn't addressed from a few issues though, like there's a basement filled with weapons and explosives, right? And then obviously in the last issue, we found out that they couldn't die, or at least not in the bubble that they're in. And there's still this mystery to why every time the book opens up, we hit a certain character and why everything is on fire. Like we get a confirmation that the nice house is actually on fire in present day. So we've got a lot of things going on in this book that are slowly coming into focus. Yet I feel like by the time we get closer to the end, Tynion's still not going to give us the entire thing until the very last book.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I totally appreciate because I get so like this book was not even on my radar, and this is when before Tynion had announced that he was leaving DC, and you were like, you're a fucking fool if you don't pick this book up, you need to do it. And I was like, fine. And then I read issue 1 and was like, holy shit, this is the best book ever. And I've said it before, I think Nice House on the Lake is in the running for best comic book of the year, like hands down. I mean, I think there's other books and we can have a vote, but I feel like Nice House on the Lake is definitely in the running for being the best comic book of the year for 2021. Yeah. Anyway, fantastic book. Seven, who is your favorite character in the house so far? That's hard. Really hard. I actually kind of like the friend who is being told by Walter to keep everybody sane, to keep everybody feeling normal, because I feel like it's not going to end well for him.
I would say I don't think he's my favorite, but I think the comedian is the most well-written character so far.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm interested in seeing where that character is going to go, just because.
I was also still nervous that even though he just slit his throat and healed back, when he had that gun, I was still nervous he was going to be like, oh, it's totally fine, and then like shoot someone in the head, and they were just going to be like, nope.
No, they're dead. But then we do get a new character that's revealed that was in the glass house, who apparently it was a puzzle to get this person out, and the person even was like, it took y'all way too long to get me out of here. I thought you'd get me out of here quicker. So it does feel like Walter has planted seeds with certain people to show what's going on. So again, the mystery of this book is fantastic, and I think the best part about this book that I like is that the horror, at least not yet, hasn't been so blatant that it's a turnoff, if that makes any sense. Like, it's still creepy, but it's still enjoyable at the same time. So that is Nice House on the Lake, book 5. Cannot wait. I think we're on a hiatus for what, a couple months?
We get book 6 in November, and then we're on a hiatus.
For how long? 3?
3 months is what they said. Which makes sense. January or December, January, February.
Yeah. All right, fine. All right, next up from Image, we have Me, You Love in the Dark. I think this is the last book we are going to get in this series that has a honeymoon phase. I think shit's about to hit the fan.
Yeah, when you start pulling boobies out, then it's fair game. Shit's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah. And the spirit itself has even said, like, you don't want to do this. So I'm calling it now. I feel like the ghost will be wearing the skin of the protagonist by the end of this book. I'm telling you now. I'm just saying it now.
Okay.
Like, if I can't have you, no one can. That kind of thing.
I'm very intrigued. I really have not been trying to figure out where this book is going. I just have been enjoying the journey. But I really enjoyed this issue. I think it flowed really well. I think it's really creepy. It's really eerie.
Mm-hmm.
I like the oddity that is the sort of story that's going on here. And I like the art. I think it works really well. I think the flow between Scotty Young and Jorge Corona is really nice. And you know what it does? Honestly, it makes me want to keep... Every time I get to the end of the book, I'm like, man, I just want more. And then, of course, like smart business people, there's a big giant advertisement for Middle West, which is their big thing that they worked on together. And Ron, of course, has a copy of the big giant oversized hardcover. Everything's a complete collection just sitting there in the shop, and I'm just like,
uh-oh. Yeah, so we get a little more intimate in this issue with the spirit and the artist, to the point where they make love. She makes love with a ghost, and it's creepy as fuck. And I just think anyone and everyone that is associated with her, and that anyone and everyone that is associated with that steps in foot in that house is going to die. And I think she's going to die by the end of this issue. And I think I summed it up perfectly. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I think the honeymoon period is over after this issue. Yeah. Shit is about to hit the fan. And is this a mini?
It is. I think 5 or 6 issues.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's about to go 0 to 60 very quickly. And I think we're also going to find out that she hasn't... I think her boss or her agent is going to show up in the next issue, and they're both going to realize that she hasn't been doing shit.
But she really hasn't been painting this whole time?
Yeah, dude. Like, she's been staring. Like, she's just
I feel like she has been, and then they're going to be total shit, and it's going to be... Once he's there, she's going to realize, oh, I've been doing bullshit this entire time.
And then the doors close, and you're not leaving.
Yeah, I feel like, her agent's definitely going to die in the next issue.
Oh, for sure. All right, well, that was fun. Yeah. Me, Love in the Dark, issue number 5. Or 3. Check it out.
Brandon says, yeah, that poor Harley, she's a goner.
She is a goner. All right. Next up from Aftershock Comics, we have Chicken Devil, issue 1.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, so I would never have read this if it weren't for Nate, and I got completely... I've ordered issue 2 and 3. I've ordered anything and everything that I could order for this story. I'm in. Huh?
I need to do that right now.
There you go. The artwork in this shit is so good. The colors are so good. And the oh shit moment in this book is quite literally I didn't see it coming. I just didn't see it coming. And when it happened, my dad, let me just say this. So my parents are living with me right now. They're moving from San Antonio up to here, and they're going to get a house. And currently they're living with us because, housing market is crazy and they want to take their time buying a house. That being said, my dad was in the media room or game room. We had just put my boys to sleep, and he was watching, I think he was watching, I don't remember. He was watching something, some kind of television show. And I had my door half open in my media room. And I'm reading it, and it happens. And I literally swear to God, I was like, oh, shit. That just happened. And I don't want to give it away, but the premise is you got this dude who owns a chain of Nashville hot chicken restaurants all around the West Coast. And he's involved in some shit that I don't think he thought he was involved in. And I think we're going to get... It wasn't explained very well, and I think that's on purpose. I think as the series goes on, we're going to find out exactly why he's involved in those things and how much he really didn't know it was those things that were going on. And so that's why he was caught off by surprise in this book. But I think the best way to describe this is Breaking Bad without making the meth. Right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's very similar to that.
And... when you initially told me about it, it was like this guy that wasn't confident. And so in my mind, the story was he puts on this chicken suit and he can do whatever. And when you actually read the book, it's just the chicken suit is a victim of the circumstance in this book, essentially. Like, you got to read it. You just have to read it. I think everyone, obviously this book isn't made for kids, so don't let, if you have kids or if you're like, hey, Uncle Tony, what should I read? Like, don't read Chicken Devil. Go read X-Men. I don't know. It just was good, and it did a great job, and the artwork is fantastic. The blending of certain events is fantastic, and I thought the writing was done really well. I didn't know what to expect, and so I'm so glad this is my pick of the week because this thing came out of nowhere.
It did. I just literally saw it one day. I think it was last week when we were doing the show. As soon as we wrapped up, I went and did my last, make sure I didn't miss anything. And I saw this and was like, what is Chicken Devil? And I read the premise and was like, oh man, all right, I'm going to have to pick this up. We'll see if Ron has extra copies. And because Ron knows good books, he picked up extra copies of this because he knew it was going to be good.
I need to go. So I think it's either cover B or C is literally just the empty Chicken Devil mask. I'm going to go get that tomorrow. Like if Ron has it, I'm picking that up. I love that cover. I could totally see a Netflix picking this up. Again, this is me just speculating. Don't, go get it to read it. But I could totally see a Netflix or an HBO or Hulu, not necessarily an Apple TV, pick this up and just go, because it's bonkers. It's totally bonkers. And that's why it's the pick of the week, and it's the last book of the show, and it's fantastic, and you should go read it.
That's Jim's pick of the week.
While you do this, I will be right back.
Okay. We're going to kick into our last part of our show, and that is honorable mentions. And I think all of our honorable mentions this week, if I'm not mistaken, hold on, let me get this tape really quick. If you didn't notice, I put away my books as we go through the show, because when we first, I think it was a couple months ago, trying to buy comic supplies, bags and boards, the resealables were a commodity that you could not find. So my last round of bags are unsealed or not sealables, so I'm having to tape them. But the next 200 are sealables, so they came in. Someone said, I'm so mad I passed on this. Hopefully my LCS still has a copy. If they don't, just saying, go to brainycomics.com. I'm sure Ron has it available, hopefully on a store. You can order them there. If your LCS doesn't have them, and he will gladly ship them to you. So honorable mentions. I think they are all, if I'm not mistaken, yes, they are Marvel books. Yes, Marvel books. And I'm going to go ahead and do the one that the one that Nate didn't read, so that when he gets back, he can see what he says about these. But the one that he didn't read that I put in honorable mentions is Avengers Tech-On. And, because we put these books in honorable mentions has nothing to do with if they're good or bad. It's just the story. It would be hard for me to really describe what happens in it if you're not, haven't heard it from issue 1. I think Tech-On is going to read very well as a collected edition book. So essentially, it's happening in Japan. Everyone's lost their powers. Iron Man has created Iron Man suits or iron suits for every single Avenger. So Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America. Wow. It's getting windy out here, guys. Anyway, it's a good story. And so we fight robot, Iron Man, Loki in this book. And we find out that Sunfire, I believe, the mutant Sunfire, has a suit as well. And because of what Red Skull has done to everybody with these infinity particles, it seems like mutants, instead of losing their... Hold on. Okay, it's just going to be me for the rest of the show. Nate had to leave. Anyway, so essentially, mutants that were depowered have their powers are essentially, or their mutant gene is like killing them. So Sunfire in this book is looking for a cure via Iron Man. So pretty cool. I'm still digging it. It just wasn't. I didn't want to add it into the rest of the show. Defenders. Are either of you reading Defenders? Did I miss it? Have you already talked about it? Haven't. I'm about to talk about it. I wish Nate was here, but he had to go. This book is good. It's fun, but it's very confusing. And I don't know if that's because we're novice readers or if it's just intentionally written that way. But I just feel very fuzzy about the book. That being said, it's enjoyable to read, and I'm pushing through it because I want to see if at the end there's some clarity. I do recommend it. I think it's fun, but I feel like I'm a little lost, and I think that's why it's in our honorable mentions. It's super thick. Deposition-wise, there's a lot going on in this book. I think Ewing is really laying the foundation for something big here. So we'll see. Let me turn on this part so we can... Oh, no! Here we go. Put that in there so that we're not... In case if he forgets to close out his call. What are we doing, guys? Come on. There we go. Oh, my God. Having a hard time. There we go. Anyway, I think it's good. It's solid. It's super thick, if that makes any sense. So I'm sure it'll read as well. It'll read better in a collected state. And then the last book we have in honorable mentions is Darkhold Alpha. I wanted to like this book so bad. I really did. And it just felt... I don't know. It just felt very... you had to have known previous or past events in this book to the point where I don't know what the hell's going on. I will say I think whatever happens in this Darkhold series will have ramifications in Trial of Magneto. I don't know why, but I just feel like it will, because this book was supposed to come out before Trials. So take that where you will. I think I'm going to have to power through this because I bought all of, I've pre-ordered the entire run, and hopefully there'll be some clarity, but I think whatever happens in this book will have direct correlation to Trials of Magneto with Scarlet Witch. But it was hard to read. I will say it was really hard to read, which is unfortunate because I was really looking forward to it. Back to the comments, I was really hoping Defenders would be something like Cates' Silver Surfer Black. It's not, but I still really dig the vibe. I think it's heading in a direction I like. No, I agree with that. I didn't know what to expect, and I think that would have been really cool, but it's not. I think Ewing is going way deeper into magic and just the idea of strange, and I think it'll have some connectivity to the overall well-being of the Marvel comic universe. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that's our honorable mentions. Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. If you missed the front half of this video, go ahead and go back and watch that if you're watching this live after it's over to see the giveaways, the milestone sub giveaways that we are reloading. We're doing 650, 750, 850, 950, 1,000, and they're pretty cool. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. If you're watching this as a past episode, go ahead and do that for us, please. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're getting there. We're at 523 subscribers, but we have new incentives, so go check those out, and then we'll make another video about those incentives that'll come out later that we'll push out. So be prepared for that. But thanks again for enjoying. Thanks again for showing up and watching us and giving us your time and your eyeballs and your ears to listen to us nerd out about comics, because that's what we like to do. So we will see you guys on Wednesday with a new comic book day video, and then if any comic book news breaks, we will bring it to you here on YouTube, and then we'll see you guys again on Sunday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time again, to talk about next week's polls. So again, subscribe button, like, bell, and as always, read more comics. Talk to you guys later. Bye.